Welcome to Manga Pow. I've recently updated my sound equipment, so please leave a comment to let me know what you think about the sound. I recently recorded this to be a everything you need to know about Overlord kind of video, but it kept leading me on these tangents, so let's try this. This is anime facts featuring Overlord. If you want to hear random anime facts, want to fill in any gaps left by the Overlord anime, or just have never watched it, then this is the video for you. Overlord is a stuck-in video game subgenre of Isekai. Isekai is the black hole that absorbs the most of my time. Almost every day it seems like a new Isekai manga comes out, but unfortunately most lack any originality. The Japanese word Isekai means parallel world, and the genre storylines usually go like this. Someone finds themselves reincarnated or stuck in another world, they gain some sort of superpowers, there's usually some love interest, and the protagonists have to save the world from, some evil force like a demon lord. I'm critical of the genre, but if it's done right, Isekai is actually my favorite genre of anime. My favorite series of all time is an Isekai called The 12 Kingdoms. It came out in the early 90s, but the story is on point. I recommend everyone listening watches it, at least for legacy reasons. Overlord is another series that just does it right. It's always mentioned in the best Isekai list due to its originality and characters and world building, which is a great compliment to the series. The source material is an ongoing light novel, and to me, that's already a plus for the story and the longevity. There's a manga and an anime, with the anime having 3 seasons, and this is one of the rare occasions where an anime is ahead of the manga. There are discussions about a season 4, but after finishing season 3, the only place to go right now is the light novel. My favorite part of any series is the lore and world building. If you're a fan of the series, I recommend reading the novel, as unfortunately, both the anime and the manga skip or brush past some important elements and characters that will be used to flesh out the world. I'll put a link in the description where you can buy the novels if you want to take that leap. Overlord has 2 meanings in relation to the series. First, we have the dictionary meaning, a ruler or someone with great power or authority. And that fits perfectly with the protagonist's role in the story. The second relates to his race. He's an undead, but he's also the rarest and most powerful undead race, known as Overlord. The story at first doesn't sound impressive. We've seen the overpowered player stuck in a game before. However, there are a few unique elements about the story that allows it to stand out. In the year 2021, a multiplayer online role-playing game called Yggdrasil was released. Side note, Yggdrasil is the world tree in Norse mythology, so it's basically the whole Viking theme, But anyway, back to the story. Within the game exists a guild, Ein's Owl Gown, once consisting of 41 members and credited as one of the strongest guilds in the game. Over the years, members of the guild stopped playing, but our Overlord character named Manga continues to play as the guild leader, maintaining their headquarters in the Great Tomb of Nazarick. After 12 years, the game servers are about to be shut down. You can tell our Overlord has invested a lot of time in the game, but in the end, only a few of his online friends logged in to say goodbye. As the game shuts down, he finds himself stuck in his avatar, unable to log out. It appears as if Yggdrasil has become a new world, with its various NPCs having been brought to life. He then comes out into the world and through sheer strength and intelligence creates an empire that starts to conquer the more established nations. I've said this exact same line in my previous video about that time I got reincarnated as a slime. And throughout this video, you're going to hear me do a lot of comparisons because I think both animes follow very similar tropes, which allows them both to be successful. But yeah, Overlord's story isn't groundbreaking, but the characters and world building are the real gems here. His name was originally Satoru, which is the same human name as Rimuru. From that time I got reincarnated as a slime. Now is that just a coincidence? I think not. It's just another connection, you know, between the two series. Yeah, and from now on I'm gonna call it Tensuro instead of that time I got reincarnated as a slime. Like, that just takes too long. Anyway, back to the story. Satoru was a salaryman who spent all his free time playing Yggdrasil. He didn't have any real world friends, but he found belonging in the game. Throughout the series, he goes from being Manga to taking on the guild name of Ainz Ao Gaun, to taking on the secret identity of Momon, and finally being known as the Sorcerer King throughout his conquest of the world. One of the creative differences of Overlord is the protagonist being also the villain. I'll be calling him Ainz from here on. Rather than being evil, Ainz is more indifferent to the world. He demonstrates no moral qualms with killing. He's just doing what has to be done for world domination. He's beyond any ethical concerns, and is stated in the series, the longer he stays in this world, the more natural he feels in his new body and role. Ainz has two main personas in the series. His outward persona is confident, cautious, calculated, and cold, yet he shows great care and protection for his allies. His internal persona contrasts this. He's socially awkward. In fact, the confident demeanor is just Satoru role-playing. He's really just continuing his role as Manga that he's been doing for the past 12 years. So far, he's the most powerful sorcerer in the world. He's actually extremely overpowered when compared to the rest of the world, and his main specialties are in dark magic and necromancy. He's shown able to summon legions of undead warriors, but to list all his powers would just take too long. An interesting innate power though is of the undead race, that forcibly controls his emotions. Whenever his emotions become too heightened, he's forcibly returned back to neutral. Most of the humor comes from Ainz' inner monologues and self-aware comments. Again, it's very similar to Rimuru in Tensuro. Let me know if I should do a comparison video. Ainz is effectively a god in the series, and is expected to be all-knowing, but it's his inner social awkward thoughts that bring charm to the series. It's also the varied cast and their, interactions with Ainz and each other, which showcase the humor of the series. The supporting cast is huge, and is really where the magic happens in the series. Each faction could have their own spin-off series. Personally, I wouldn't mind watching a spin-off about the Blue Roses, and them traveling through the world defeating monsters and taking on dungeons. Like they could have their own fantasy story. Yeah. Back to the story. The species in the new world are very similar to Yggdrasil. A varied group from goblins and lizard people to humans and demons, but our main cast are the NPCs from Nazarick. There are two main sets of NPCs. There are the Guardians and the Maids. Each Guardian was created by a founding member of the guild and were given their own unique personalities and designed, reflecting the personalities of their creators. A great example of this is Pandora. He's a Guardian created by Ainz himself. He's an actor, but extremely socially awkward. But he's also level-headed. He's also a shapeshifter. Do you see where we're going with this? Ainz' true power in the series is that he's able to adapt to any situation by acting confidently. Therefore, he himself is also a shapeshifter. This is good writing, folks. The maids also have their own unique personalities. They act as maids in the series, but also partake on missions when required. The only thing that all the MPs have in common is their unwavering devotion to Ainz.
本気でその敬礼はやめような。
The Great Tomb of Nazarick was originally a dungeon in Yggdrasil, but it became the guild's base of operations and is also the base of operations for the majority of the story. It was a large tomb with 10 floors going down, filled with traps and monsters to kill anyone who tried to claim the treasures inside. When Ainz became stuck in the New World, the tomb was also transported from the swamps of Yggdrasil to a new grassy plain. While Ainz is on his conquest to conquer the New World, in reality, he's just trying to protect Nazarick and its inhabitants.
で独占すべきものでもないな。ナザリックと我が友たち、アインズールゴンを飾るためのものかもしれないか。
Fanservice. The ever-present fanservice in Isekai. From the first episode, you may think that fanservice is heavy in the series, but it's actually not. You expect some bouncing breasts from time to time, but for an anime that's filled with maids and godlike characters with a harem, there is hardly any use of it, beyond, the odd character's obsession with Ainz.
自然に動く表情、匂い、すべて今までのゲームでは決して表現できなかったものばかり。っていつまで揉んでいるんだ!
The character design and art style. Yeah, let's be honest. The animation and art style aren't groundbreaking. It's based on a fantasy MMORPG kind of world, and some of the characters' designs, like the NPCs in Nazarick, they're kind of cool and unique. Personally, I like the designs of the lizard people, but it's not something you'll ring home about. Isekai fight scenes tend to be high-action, epic affairs to draw in viewership, but the purpose of fight scenes in Overlord is mainly for shock value and to set up future events. They show the drastic difference between Ainz and his companion's strength against the strength of the inhabitants of the New World, and to show that resistance against this unstoppable force is actually futile. The music is great. Yeah, it's dramatic and dark when it needs to be, really suits the series, and it's recognizable. What more can you ask for? The series is really good and deserves the reviews it gets and the acclaim for being one of the best Isekai series ever. You'll be coming back for the unique cast of characters and their larger-than-life personalities. It's not a perfect series, but if you enjoy the anime, I recommend picking up the light novel as it gets even better. As always, if you like this video, subscribe and click that thumbs up button.